Alright, let's do the lesson on timer right now. So what happened is this, we are going to show you how to interact with this thing called time in our Visual Basic program. So let's start with a new one, then later you can incorporate the idea into your security. So at the moment, our Visual Basic, make sure that you choose Visual Basic instead of Visual C# or Visual C++. Select Windows Forms application. Make sure that the location is not set as C drive, okay? C drive you cannot access it. Right now I'm using D drive, I'm using a timer folder, and after that of course I'm going to call it new timer. Okay, new timer. And after that, make sure it's create the directory for solutions and click OK. Current solution will be closed. OK. Alright, so this is the new form. We are going to show you how to interact with a timer. So let's just pull out a button here that will say button 1, please change the text to, let's say, start timing. Alright, and let's create the other one that just call stop timing. Stop. Alright, of course you can have one more, which is to reset the whole timer. That one I'll leave it to you as a challenge. Alright, so let's use a label to calculate our timing. We can just put a timer starts here. Okay, then after that what we are going to do is once we click on start, the timer will start counting here, and once we press stop, the timer will stop. How to reset? That is a challenge. So you realize that there's command control, there's no timer here. We need to go under all window forms, you move down at T, you see a timer. So you pull this timer out of the box and put it in the form. You realize it doesn't stay in the form, it will appear here. So when you double click on this timer 1, you will come to a place where timer 1 tick. So at the moment we will not use this yet. So what do you need to do? We will need to declare a variable that will count as a timer move on. So let's talk a little bit about variable. So to declare a variable, you have to move it out to the class, just below the class. To declare, we use dim, declare a timer counter. You must tell the computer, the program, as to what sort of timer count, what sort of variable is this. Okay, we just use an integer. So this will count, and the integer will count to a certain number before it stops. Alright, so what happened when the button 1 is clicked? When the button 1 is clicked, we will enable timer 1. So we will say timer 1 dot enabled equals to true. So at the moment, once we go back to the form design and click on timer 1, you will realize the enabled behavior is false and the interval is at 100 milliseconds. So to make it move at 1 second, interact with you every second, you can use 1000 milliseconds. So once we click on the start, once it's enabled, then the label 1 will show a text which is timer counter. Okay, timer counter. So let's just run this and see at the moment what does our codes do to the program. So once we click on to start, they will enable timer 1 and they will put the label 1, which is here, as 0, because once we declare timer counter as integer, the default value is 0. Let's try and see whether is it true. So once I click start, you realize it's 0, but it doesn't count. It doesn't follow the second. So to move the second, it all depends on this timer tick. So let's just, actually the timing is still moving at the back, but we cannot observe it. Alright, let's come back here. So every time the timer click, what do we want it to do? We want the timer counter to add 1 to itself, okay, equal timer counter plus 1. Then we put in it at the label 1.text equal timer counter. Alright, so let's run the program and see what happens here. When I click start, it starts with 0. But every second, as the timer 1 tick, it will add 1 to its previous number, which is 0. So the new timer counter is 0 plus 1, and it becomes 1 at label 1.text. Then it keeps moving every second. So this is how the timer helps you to keep track of time. Of course, how to do a countdown, you will need to probably start with a number and keep subtracting it from your file. So, alright, so now how do we stop this timer? To stop the timer, you will need to go to the form design and double click onto stop. So this is the stop button. In case you are confused, you may want to type down this is the stop button. So what happened when we want it to stop? Remember that we have timer 1 enabled equal true. So right now, to stop the button, you just have to disable. So you just put timer enabled is false. Let's try it and see whether it is. Alright, let's start the timer rolling. So once I press stop, they will disable the timer 1. So you should stop at 8, 9, 10. So once I click stop, the timer will not move anymore. So if I want it to start again, I will click on and you'll start to count again. Alright, so basically what you have done is a very simple stopwatch. But how do I reset it back to 0? That is the challenge for today. Have fun!